kill the fatted calf tonight, so stick around. You gotta hear electric music, solid walls of sound. Say, Candy and Ronnie, have you seen them yet? Ooh, but they're so spaced out. Betty and the Jets. Oh, but the weird and the wonderful. Oh, Betty, she's really keen. She's got electric boots, a mohair suit. You know I read it in a magazine. No, Betty and the Jets. Hey kids, plug into the faithless. Maybe they're blind, but Betty makes them ageless. We shall survive, let us take ourselves along. When we fight our parents out on the streets to find who's right and who's wrong. Oh, Kenny and Ronnie, have you seen them yet? Oh, but they're so spaced out. Betty and the Jets. Oh, but the weird and the wonderful. Oh, Betty, she's really keen. She's got electric boots, a mohair suit. You know I read it in a magazine. No, Betty and the Jets.
Big black train coming down the track. Blow your whistle long and long. 1 minute you're here, next minute you're gone. I lay my penny down on the rails. The summer wind sings its last song. 1 minute you're here, next minute you're gone. Baby, 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 I'm so alone. Baby, 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 I'm coming home. Autumn carnival on the edge of town. We walk down the midway, arm in arm. 1 minute you're here, next minute you're gone. I thought I knew just who I was and what I'd do, but I was wrong. 1 minute you're here, next minute you're gone. Red river running along the edge of town. On muddy banks I lay my body down, this body down. Footsteps crackling on the gravel road. Stars vanish in the sky as black as stone. 1 minute you're here, next minute you're gone. 1 minute you're here, next minute you're gone. 1 minute you're here.
I dreamed I was missing. You were so scared, but no one would listen, 'cause no one else cared. After my dreaming, I woke with this fear. What am I leaving when I'm done here? So if you're asking me, I want you to know, when my time comes, forget the wrong that I've done. Help me leave behind some reasons to be missed. And don't resent me. And when you're feeling empty, keep me in your memory. Leave out all the rest. Leave out all the rest. Don't be afraid of taking my beating, of shit that I made. I'm strong on the surface, not all the way through. I've never been perfect, but neither have you. So if you're asking me, I want you to know, when my time comes, forget the wrong that I've done. Help me leave behind some reasons to be missed. Don't resent me. And when you're feeling empty, keep me in your memory. Leave out all the rest. Leave out all the rest. Forgetting all the hurt inside you learned you had so well. Pretending someone else can come and save me from myself. I can't be who you are. When my time comes, forget the wrong that I've done. Help me leave behind some reasons to be missed. Don't resent me. And when you're feeling empty, keep me in your memory. Leave out all the rest. Leave out all the rest. Forgetting all the hurt inside you've learned you had so well. Pretending someone else can come and save me from myself. I can't be who you are. I can't be who you are.
Just want to ask that everyone make sure all of their devices are set to silent before we bring the family in.
These mist-covered mountains are home now for me, but my home is the lowlands, and always will be. Someday you'll return to through these fields of destruction. Baptisms of fire. I've witnessed your suffering as the battle reached high. And though it had hurt me so bad, in the fear and alarm, you did not desert me, my brothers in arms. There's so many different worlds, so many different suns, and we have just been one, but we live in different ones. Now the sun's gone to hell, the moon's riding high. Let me bid you farewell. Every man has to die, but it's written in the stars. In every line in your palm, we're fools to make war on our brothers in arms.
To the life of Connor Andrew MacKay. We are here to remember the good times that we shared and to express our love and admiration. I'd like to start by saying a sincere thank you to each and every one of you. On behalf of Connor's family, thank you all for being here. We acknowledge that this is a challenging time to be away from home, and we are grateful that we get to share this time with you. We also want to express our gratitude to the Martin Brothers Funeral Chapels and all the staff here. You guys have made this experience as wonderful as possible. I'll start by drawing attention to some of the gentlemen named honorary pallbearers for Connor here today. Although Connor was cremated and we won't be carrying his body out here today, I'd like to acknowledge that we have Craig MacKay, Michael Wellington, Ryker Crine, Brent MacKay, Braden Giesbrecht, and Aaron Crine as honorary titled pallbearers. Born in December on the 28th in 1994 in Edmonton, Alberta, Connor lived his early years with his family in Devon, later moving here to Lethbridge, where he most recently called home. Connor was happiest when his mind and his body were active. He enjoyed making healthy food. If any one of you were lucky enough to have Connor cook for you, you were sure to know that his meals were saucy and spicy and hearty, or his protein shakes were as green concoction as they could come. He loved taking baths and reading good books and researching new topics, exercising, all kinds of exercise, whether it was weightlifting or dancing. And those of you who knew him well, knew that he loved sleeping. But above all else, Connor was happiest always when he was surrounded by his family, regardless of the activity. Connor's heart was warm, and his ideas were larger than life. His family is very proud of the man that he became. On October 21st, 2020, it's a day that was ingrained in my heart forever. It was exactly 1 month ago. And somehow, it feels simultaneously like it was 1 moment ago, as well as a lifetime ago. Family gathered quickly by the masses, and time stood still. And today, again, we pause and we reflect. We leave all of our to-do lists at the door, and we take this time to be close with family and friends and to show Connor the respect that he deserves. We step away from our daily lives and we remain present to honor a profound young man. Honor is a word that held great meaning for Connor. To some, Connor was a son, and to others, a brother, a cousin, a nephew, but I know to all of us, he was a friend. And I won't pretend to know how many of you who are the closest to him must feel right now, but my heart is undeniably broken as well. Connor, you are the brother that I chose and my friend, and farewell will absolutely not come easily. I know that none of us are ready to say goodbye. Together, I do believe that we can make it through today. This is an obviously very difficult day, and we're going to need each other's help. Today will be thought of for many reasons, but my hope is that it will also be remembered fondly as a special day in which we leaned on one another, we swapped stories, and we paid our respects. Today we are here to celebrate. When someone is taken from us so young, as Connor was, in the prime of their life, understandably, we're not comfortable with words and phrases that point towards the word celebration of life. I know some of us feel immense anger and deep pain, inconsolable grief, maybe even rage and disbelief. Those are just a few of the words and feelings associated with our thoughts. But hidden in all of this pain and sorrow, there is undeniably something that we can celebrate. We can celebrate the fact that we have known Connor. Though he's no longer with us, we can celebrate that we were privileged to have known him as long as we did. I'll start today's celebration by sharing how blessed I feel to have known Connor, and I'm truly honored to stand here in front of you all today. I'm going to do my best to facilitate this next hour as we say goodbye to a wonderful young man. Our celebration will be a short one today, because I think that's what Connor would have wanted. And when we leave here, though, we'll continue to slow down our lives and cherish our memories of Connor and honor the time that we did spend with him. The celebration doesn't end today. After the service, please understand that there will not be a get-together, as many of you have probably experienced in situations like this in the past. We are under strict regulations with COVID-19, and we do hope that in the near future, we can again share your company without fear of such restrictions. Our first speaker will read aloud Connor's eulogy. I'd like to invite Connor's uncle, Cameron MacKay, to the stage to do so.
It's my honor to be here. Connor was my nephew and godson. Just give me a minute. It's a MacKay trait, I think. Connors was born in 1994, but his story started much earlier than that. It started in 1986 when the movie Highlander came out, starring Christopher Lambert and Sean Connery. And at that time, I was living in Calgary, and I would come up to Rachel and Craig's house and for some reason play Highlander over and over and over until finally, it wasn't Brooke that was named Connor, and that would have been awkward, but it was finally Connor that was named Connor. So that's, I believe that I had a little to do with his naming. Going through Connor's literature and things like that, he was very profound, and on his, he wrote a poem, "Like you're coming up for air, forever I'll cry out, like an angel stuck in despair. I see the glare, it's blinding me. From seeing the road that's winding in front of me, I'm crying out for help. But I realize I'm the only one that can heal the self. Forever I stare in the face of God that won't reveal its lair." It's very profound from Connor. The morning did come, and we managed to get out of bed, only because it is what you have wanted. Connor MacKay passed away October 21st, 2020. He is a loved son, brother, nephew, cousin, and friend. Connor was a genuine young man with deep intellect, unique insight, and amazing warm heart. A conversation with Connor was always real. He did not speak much, but when he did, it was with passion. A deep thinker, Connor often studied in areas of interest and could recite volumes of information with great clarity. He was knowledgeable in a variety of subjects that intrigued him and never lost curiosity or the desire to learn. Connor saw the depth and value in each person he met. He was willing to do what most of us were not, simply listen. A true friend of many, Connor was always there when needed most. Connor's humor was clever and often hidden from those that were not paying attention. He could turn any situation into a laugh fest, and even when it wasn't appropriate. His frequently serious moods, Connor struggled to contain his laughter. In a world where everything is so confusing and there is no map, a strong family never left his side. They were always with him, we were always with him. No matter the turn of the tides or the chill of the deep water, Connor found comfort in this. And one day we will also. Throughout his becoming of a man, unseen in the shadows of the dark, he learned the true lesson. He looked and saw the true reflection. He recognized the helping hand, and with humility and thankness, he took hold of it. His thoughts were not confined to the stratosphere, but reached to the stars, where his intellect resides and is his home. During this heartbreaking time, that young man is visited by those closest to him. His path is well guided by his 4 grandparents, and we will feel assured that he is laughing at the jokes he tells them. This is from a movie, quite fitting, I think, at this time. Each one of us here today will at one time in our lives look upon a loved one who is in need and ask the same question. We're willing to help, Lord, but what, if anything, is needed? For it is true, we can seldom help those closest to us. Either we don't know what part of ourselves to give, or more often than not, the part that we have to give is not wanted. And so it is those that we live with and should know that elude us. But we can still love them. We can love them completely without completely understanding.
Thank you, Cam. That was beautiful. Our love doesn't die, ever. Not real love. So I just want to remind you that you don't have to say that I loved. You can still say that I love you, Connor. Connor, I was blessed to have you in my home for much of this past year. And I would give absolutely anything for more time with you. During our visits, your ideas were always profound. Maybe sometimes we'd talk, or sometimes we'd just sit silently while we read, or maybe we'd cook. We always felt safe together. You were a great listener. You would listen intently to our thoughts. You knew something about everything, and you had insight regardless of the topic. Your ambitions were big. I loved hearing your grand illusions of someday. And you've given us a gift throughout this tragic time. You've taught us to slow down and to listen to each other. You gave us the glass to see what is truly important and reminded us to embrace the happy times. 1 month ago on a Wednesday, from night's darkness came morning's golden light, and you were warm in your bed with a belly full of food. It was clean and comfortable. You were snoring peacefully. You were close to your family, and you felt loved. And when we think of you, may we be reminded how precious our life is. Anything could happen at any time. Soon, we got news that stung, but we didn't yet know the truth of it. Connor, you are undeniably a man born ahead of your time. As a society, we failed to appreciate your differences. We must love and accept one another unconditionally, always, just like Connor did. You were a genuinely creative and generous man, born years premature, by a century, maybe more. In the morning, our day began like any other, suddenly halted as you slipped away into a dream. The snow had fell through the night, and with it, we suddenly froze. Time stopped, and the shock set in. Seriously? This has to be a dream. Within a matter of hours, the house was full of family. We found small comforts in having each other near. For weeks, we stayed up late, and we snuggled together in the living room. Fit way too many people in there, I think. When we saw you for the first and the last time, it wasn't as scary as I expected it to be. You looked so peaceful and handsome, just like you were sleeping. We won't disappoint you. We will lean on your family when missing you is getting us down. And again, we stare into the morning.
First thing we climb a tree, and maybe then we talk, or sit silently and listen to our thoughts, with illusions of someday, cast in a golden light, no dress rehearsal, this is our life. And that's where the hornet stung me, and I had a feverish dream.
This afternoon we will hear words from those who were closest to Connor and who loved him very much. We'll also hear a few musical selections that the family chose. Connor was more spiritual than religious, but we did feel it fitting to include some religious content and prayers in today's celebration. So first, I would like to ask Blake Popovich to come forward and share a few of her own words.
Hi. When I first met Connor, he was 19 years old. There's not too many people I've felt I've had an instant connection with, but Connor was definitely one of them. It was apparent from the moment that we met that he had a positive energy that surrounded him. He wasn't an easy guy to get to know, though. For months I tried to get him to come hang out with me, and he would always seem to dodge his way out of it. Years passed without us seeing each other or having any contact. Then later, by chance, we reconnected through the same person who originally introduced us to each other. When he entered the house unexpectedly, I immediately was drawn to him. He sat across the table from me, and I looked over at our friend and said, "How do I know that guy?" And he said, "That's little Connor." And I looked at him and I said, "Oh, the goody two-shoes kid." And boy, was I in for a surprise. When I was around Connor, I felt so much joy. One of the first things that drew me to Connor was the fact that he had the ability to see humor in all kinds of situations. He had such a goofy sense of humor. Actually, he had every sense of humor. He could be dry, he could be dark, he could be sarcastic, he could be anything. He was just goofy. He had the ability to change the mood of the room with one of his jokes. One of the first things, excuse me, I'm out of it. There we go. He had a way of changing the energy in the room. We both shared the love for music. We would always have music around in the background. I'm sorry, you guys. We would always have music on in the background and took every chance we could to dance. When we were home alone, we would have dance parties with the music so loud the windows would shake. Connor had moves like no other. He also had a love for nature and animals. I was lucky enough to go camping with him twice over the last year, which I think is more than either of us had in a while. Connor found beauty in nature and liked exploring. He loved British Columbia. He loved animals so much, and they loved him too. I'm from the farm, and I've been around animals my whole life. I believe animals are a good judge of character. And Connor was so proud of Craig's dog, Otis, whom Connor picked out. Otis loved Connor so much, but on that note, so did every pet. Whenever Connor was around someone's pet, the first thing they did was run to him. This did not only apply with domesticated animals. Twice I had been with him where wildlife had come right up to us. One day, driving to my parents' farm, we spotted a baby fox out of the corner of our eyes. We had found a whole family of baby foxes, and within minutes they were coming out of their holes and coming to check us out. They ended up coming right up to us. He loved those foxes so much. We made it a habit to drop off a treat for the family whenever we drove by. Another evening while out in Lethbridge, a mother and pair of fawns ran into us. We stopped and locked eyes, and they started walking towards us. I grabbed for the glasses on my head in shock of what I was seeing, but they were already on my face. Connor wasn't always a bundle of joy, though. He could be so grumpy. And when he was mad, he was quite impossible to deal with. Not only could he be grumpy, he could be stubborn as well. I need this water. I'm just taking it. I don't even care. when we get to a certain point with him, it was better just to walk away for a couple days. But he was impossible to stay mad at too long. Connor's attributes, however, did pay off. God damn it. Swearing at a funeral. Did, however, work to his advantage. He has strong beliefs and he was willing to fight to stand up for what he believed in. He was a true warrior. I know Connor was so proud of his family. I know he loved each and every one of you so much. Before I was introduced to anybody, he would always talk about you guys. I admired the closeness of your family, and I feel blessed that Connor came into my life, and I feel grateful for every moment I got to spend with Connor. I am also so grateful that Connor gave me the gift of getting to know you guys and know your family. Connor was an extremely spiritual person. He took interest in all different aspects of spirituality, and I know it meant a great amount to who he was as a person. He was extremely in touch with his spiritual self, and the connection we had was on a much different spiritual level than anything I've ever experienced before. He was taken from us much too soon. He was on a good path, starting school again, and he had so much to offer this world. He was an extremely intelligent person, and although he had his struggles, it was hard to see him go like this. I believe we all have a path, and I hope that Connor is out there figuring out his soul destiny. And I believe Connor will be there looking out for us when we need him. Connor was the best friend I ever had. I love you, Connor. Thank you.
Thank you, Blake. That was beautiful. I know that Connor would be proud to see how his family supports each other at a time like this, and to see how his friends have come together. The next person I'd like to bring up is William Cool. This is a friend of Connor's who has written words that he'd like to share with us today.
All right. Born in December and gone with the leaves, silently in sleep while orange fills the trees. Together we are strong, but together we also weep, and this road is inclined and steep. But his spirit's never left us, and some of us can see. Remember him with happiness, remember him with glee, and remember him with love, enough to float him up. We gotta be strong, and you can't hug your loved ones enough. He was a son, a friend, a brother, a lover, and he understood energy like no other. He was strong, funny, and smart. He had a big heart, and he saw the best in everyone from the start. Sometimes it can be hard just to rise from our bed sheets, but that's not what he'd want, so please let's stay off our knees. Not a single word went unspoken between us, and I have that at least. I love you, my dear brother Connor. Until heaven, rest in peace.
Thank you, Will. Unfortunately, the catastrophe of death cannot be altered, but it can be transformed by love and honest reflection. Next, I will ask Connor's brother, Ryker, Crine, to share some words.
It's hard to believe that 14 years ago, I met a best friend and a brother. Talking about all these big plans on how we were going to take over the world one day. Obviously, as we grew up, that turned into how we could better this world and how big of a footprint we would leave on this earth. And you were well on your way there. But what defines the size of that footprint? If you can change just one person's life during your own lifetime, then your job on earth was well done and your time was well spent. And just by looking around this room and acknowledging the amount of other people that would love to be here, our hats are off to you as we stand together shoulder to shoulder in your mourning. Your time here was well spent. You changed my life in many more in ways that I wish I could tell you now. It's been a long month without you, but we'll be able to tell you about it when we see you again. I'm just going to say a quick prayer, so if you'd like to close your eyes and put your hands together. Thank you for Connor's life and all the years that we shared with him. We lift him up to you today in honor of the good that we saw in him and the love that we felt for him, but also that the good that he saw in us and the love that he felt for us. Please give us the strength to leave him in your care in the knowledge of eternal life through Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Ryker. Next, I will ask Connor's cousin, Ian Delbigio, to share some words with us today.
So I first got to know Connor on our annual ski trips, where we would go all over the mountain at Panorama. And I'm pretty sure that Connor went straight from the Bunny Hill to Black Diamonds in keeping up with all of his older cousins. And out there I learned 3 things about Connor that he showed right from an early age, and I think we can all agree carried with him for his whole life. He was intelligent, he was fearless, and he was loyal. On the long chairlifts there was one of the rare times that he would actually talk when you're trapped there going all the way up Panorama together. And I think we all can remember that his intelligence was one of his most incredible attributes for someone that was so quiet. And I'd just like to quickly share a parable that I think of when I think of Connor. And it's about the 3 types of men, or people that live in the world. And they all live at a little village at the base of a mountain. And most people just stay at the base of that mountain and live the 9 to 5 in the village. But some people, they go up the hill, up the mountain, and they take one look over the edge, and they see the dark abyss on the other side, and they come running back down to the village, and they never leave the village again and never go up the mountain. But the 3rd type of person, they leave the village and they climb up to the top of the mountain, and they look out over the vast black expanse, and they throw their feet off the side of the hill and they laugh. And I really think that Connor was that 3rd type of person. I think he was incredibly brilliant and saw the world in a unique and powerful way. And I'm going to very dearly miss my cousin out on the ski hills. And I know that's one place that I think he'll probably live on for a long time in my mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Ian. Love is not easily put into words, and nor is loyalty. But Connor embodied these, and he loved completely and lived intensely. I love hearing what others have to say about him. Next, I'd like to invite Michael and Lewis Mormon to play a musical selection.
young. From my mother, tell her that I love her, but my soul's gone home. And take me back to that Bridge County, and drive real slow and take a long way home. And tell my kin to pick up the shovel, wrestle that sugar sand and bury my bones. Don't you bury my bones, leave me behind when it comes time. Won't you bury my bones? Won't you bury my bones? Won't you bury my bones?
Music was very important to Connor, so I really appreciate, I know the family does too, for you guys playing today. Thank you so much, Lewis and Mike. I won't insult you by trying to tell you that one day that you'll forget about this. I know as well as you do that we will not. But at least in time, we will not remember as fiercely as we do now, and I pray that that time comes soon. Next, we will hear from Connor's aunt, Heather Burgess. Please come on up.
Our big clan is a circle of love and strength. With every birth and every union, our circle grows. Every joy shared adds more love. Every crisis and death faced together makes our circle stronger. This year, our circle has certainly sorely been tried. Whether or not we've grown stronger, I don't know at this point, but I certainly know today we're a little sadder. We are here today to give our love and support to Craig, Rachel, and George and families. It is what we do. It's our ritual. It's how we honor our departed loved ones. It's our duty to write the last chapter in Connor's book of life and to say farewell. The English language has actually missed coming up with some few needed nouns in our vocabulary. When we lose a husband or wife, we are a widower or a widow. But when a mother and father lose their child, there is no noun to describe their state. The biggest loss of all losses. Perhaps it is because there's no words but only adjectives. Shattered and broken. I cannot think of anyone stronger than a mother or father who loses their child and still breathes. And for the sisters and brothers, there is no word to describe their state, but from experience, I call them the forgotten survivors. As everyone gathers around the parents of a deceased child, somewhere in the fray we forget the siblings. We don't mean to, it's not our intention, but we tend to ask, how are your parents doing? How are they coping? Sisters and brothers share a very special bond. You've created your own little club where you know each other's hearts, you know your hopes and your dreams, and even your mom and dad aren't included in that little club. So Craig and Chandra, Brooke and Brent, and all your siblings, we are also all here for you to talk and to listen. You may be by yourself, but you're never alone. Now, I'm going to share a passage with you, and it touches on faith. But I'll share with you a little story that Craig told me just after Connor died, and his stepchildren came over, and he said him and Dara went downstairs to have a game of pool. And he said, during the pool game, Dara said to me, Craig, where's your faith? Craig said to me, that's something I think I have to work on. I think it's something today we all need to work on. So this is a beautiful passage. It's from a spiritual guide when he is asked about the question about death. There are many reasons for termination of life in this realm. The parting may be because of physical illness, mental illness, addiction, accidental death, old age, or chosen by the earth soul itself. But when it is time for that soul to give itself to God, whatever you may perceive your God to be, then it is for that soul alone to make that choice. And that choice is between the soul and God alone, and for no other ear to hear or eye to see. Whatever the cause of death, there is no judgment. God will not wreak his vengeance down upon you, for God's love is truly but a gentle thing. It is not condemning or judgmental. There is no judgment or condemnation, for God, this force which is God, which is truly pure and truly understanding, will only recognize and accept the decision of the soul to come back to its source. So what now? How do we go on? And where do we go from here? When you turn from the light, you turn away from God. And inevitably you turn inward and you become closed. And you hold your pain to you, and then the seed of the soul cannot grow, for it needs light to grow. Turn your face to the light, for in that light you will find warmth, you will find healing, and you will find love. Because people die and love does not die. You can cry and close your mind, be empty and turn your back, or you can take your courage in your hands and step into the light. For that is what Connor would want us to do. So fare thee well, dear Connor, we will all be okay.
Thank you, Heather. I know Connor held his aunts and his uncles in a very special place in the bottom of his heart. We're going to hear one more song by Mike and Lewis.
Fairy tales, stare at the beautiful women she's looking
Thank you again. That was a song that would constantly make the playlist when Connor was around. Before we part here today, there's a few things left on our to-do list. We will discuss a MacKay tradition, and following a poem, a few final words will be shared. And of course, as some of you maybe guessed already, we will cue the end of our service, our end of Connor's service, with some bagpipes. I want to point out a couple things about the music that we chose to play on the pipes today. The music becomes more uplifting as time goes on, and we did this on purpose to resemble lifting Connor's soul. And related to that, we'll say a final farewell using a MacKay tradition. It's called the Call of the Pipes. And when we're done, the bagpipers will lead us out of the chapel. And you will notice that we placed one shoe at the exit as a symbol of Connor stepping away into the afterlife. We will wish Connor the best, and we will wish him happiness and peace and safe haven. So for those of you who have a brochure here, or a pamphlet, I'll get you to draw your attention to this page here with the formal photo of Connor and his siblings. And I want to share a poem. This is The Call of the Pipes. I'm going to read to you the first section, and if you feel up to it, you can read the second section back from us to Connor. We can read it aloud together if you want. Today the hardest day will be as you set my spirit free. One bockle behind, with the other I explore. To my family, I could not possibly love you more. Someday too your time will bring sorrow. Today I bid not farewell, but until morrow. I will watch over from closer than you think. Always our hearts remain in sync. Forever you I vow to cherish. Memories together will never perish. Reminded at sunset or tide break, my heart I offer you to take. When my time comes, my soul will soar, and they will pipe me out the door. But in my heart you will remain, until one day we meet again. To share some final remarks, I'd like to invite Connor's father, Craig MacKay, to the stage.
Again, the family would like to thank everyone for your support. It's been very comforting. There is nothing so bad that good cannot come out of it. Death can be a cauldron used to heal other wounds. We come together in a death to celebrate life and to put away our grievances that seem so petty at this time in the face of real tragedy. Look around, leave today, and try to forgive loved ones. Bring them close, let things go, no matter how hard. If we can all do that, while today is sad, good can come out of it.
getting something that's been known to change the weather. We'll kill the fight it cough tonight, so stick around. You gotta hear electric music, solid walls of sound. Say, Candy and Ronnie, have you seen them yet? Ooh, but they're so spaced out. Betty and the Jets. Oh, but the weird and the wonderful. Oh, Betty, she's really keen. She's got electric boots, a mohair suit. You know I read it in a magazine. Oh, Betty and the Jets. Hey kids, plug into the faithless. Maybe they're blind, but Betty makes them ageless. Which shall survive? Let us take ourselves along. When we fight our parents out on the streets to find who's right and who's wrong. Oh, Kenny and Ronnie, have you seen them yet? Oh, but they're so spaced out. Betty and the Jets. Oh, but the weird and the wonderful. Oh, Betty, she's really keen.